Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the head of publication here, and today I'm thrilled to introduce a discussion around the Zoom virtual agent. And joining me for that conversation is Jodi, the senior product marketing manager at Zoom. Thanks very much for joining me today, Jodi. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's just an honor to be with you. And thank you so much for doing this and taking the time. Looking forward to talking about Zoom Virtual Agent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating just area in general. I think the kind of virtual agent space at the moment. There's been at first there was that wave of generative AI, and we saw lots of advancements in terms of agents that can move with context, so the conversations are a bit more fluid. We've seen sort of the whole dialogue tree sort of agents kind of slightly fall away. And against that backdrop, and as sort of the technologies have evolved, Zoom has relaunched its virtual agent quite recently. Could you maybe tell me a little bit more about that relaunch?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So June 6th marks for Zoom a major general availability and relaunch of the next generation of Zoom Virtual Agent. And that really marks for Zoom a traditional shift away from rigid, scripted, rule-based AI towards more of truly agentic AI systems. And that means we're really reimagining self-service in a way that aligns with the future of autonomous customer service. And so new Zoom Virtual Agent is using AI that can now reason, it can adapt real time and prioritize based on customers' needs and based on the context of the conversation. And it's designed to automate complex, complicated customer issues, really from start to finish. And all doing that while minimizing human involvement, not only from the CX workforce's side, but obviously, of course, from the consumer side. And all of that also without losing the nuance of real human-like conversation in a way that feels natural.
Yeah.
You know, analysts in our industry are predicting that by 2028, that upwards of 80% of all customer service inquiries, queries in general, are going to be able to be solved by agentic AI. And, all kinds of predictions on the types of cost reductions that we'll see behind that. And I think this strategic evolution of Zoom Virtual Agent is really going to help our customers stay ahead of that curve and drive real value out of self-service in a position that's going to help them scale their self-service to succeed.
Yeah, and I saw that prediction as well from Gartner, actually, around the 80% of interactions will start to be automated by agentic AI. But I think one of the features I really like about the Zoom virtual agent is that, yes, there's the sort of agentic approach, but as a developer of the systems, you can stick to rule-based in certain scenarios. You can be modular in your approach. You can consider each attempt and be like, oh, where can we give, are we confident in the AI's ability to reason here, or do we still want to sort of hard code in that sort of rule-based approach to make sure that we're following the exact procedure on these maybe more sensitive customer queries. And I think for me, that's one of the ease of being able to do that is one of the features that really sticks out within the Zoom virtual agents. But I'm sure there's many others that also excite you. And I don't know if you could maybe perhaps take me through some of those features.
Yeah, I'm always happy to talk about features that excite me, use cases that excite me. And I think what excites me most about what Zoom has done here with next generation of Zoom Virtual Agent is really behind this agent builder all through AI Studio, and specifically just how easy it is now to be able to create and deploy a virtual agent. I myself, having a marketing background, I'm doing this 30 virtual agents in 30 days challenge where I'm able to really create these agents. And I think it's that kind of accessibility that changes the game for businesses, making self-service available for all. And of course, speaking personally, again, as a marketing professional who's worked on different multinational brands, I'm especially excited and energized by the potential of how now this tool is going to allow you to personify your brand. So through AI, through the agent builder, you can set agent guidance and define how you want your agent to come across and give it a personality. You can decide if you want it to be, giving very conversational instructions. Do you want it to be charming, academic, funny, playful, serious, whatever it is that best represents and reflects your brand's identity and tone. And I've spent kind of years safeguarding this concept of whatever my brand identity is and making sure that every piece of content and messaging that I'm working on, so even every email, right, every customer touch point stays true to the brand. And I think for the first time, self-service really can now be a true extension of brand identity. It's no longer just this functional interface that's thought of, as reducing operational costs. It's truly an opportunity to create brand experiences, and that's a huge shift. So I also think, of course, it allows us to scale customer experiences with consistency and also with character, like I mentioned. But then when you combine that idea of consistent, scalable messaging together with the ability to have, reasoning and the ability to take autonomous action, which can solve for issues, that's what's going to drive resolution in a way that feels seamless and entirely on brand. And I think, that's the kind of transformation that we want to see in self-service. And I'm really excited for this next evolution of Zoom Virtual Agent to unlock for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much great stuff there. If I maybe just quickly reflect back on one moment, I think one thing that's now the case with Zoom Virtual Agent, it's far superior, if you will, to maybe the other solutions in the market, especially those dating back maybe a year or so, is that ability to give a bot a persona. But also, at the beginning of the Gen AI hype, a lot of models were doing this, but they weren't able to reason and be like, when do I switch off that persona? So if I have if I want my bot to have a persona that's maybe upbeat and cheerful, yet the customer query is about something really serious and requires immediate action, the virtual agent can now reason with that and to select an appropriate tone that may stick to brand guidelines, but can also kind of think for itself almost. I think that is super exciting, and it does differentiate the Zoom Virtual Agent from the other solutions, some of the other solutions on the market. I don't know if there are any other kind of key differentiators like that for you that really stand out in terms of how the Zoom Virtual Agent is different to the hundreds of other conversational AI solutions that are out there in the contact center space.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation around AI agents, agentic AI, and for sure you can see those agentic AI offerings in the market now. But I see them still as offering still scripted workflows, still intensive creation and setup and deployment of virtual agents, pre-programming still required. And I think ZVA, Zoom Virtual Agent, helps us break out of that mold by delivering truly agentic AI. And that's expressed in just how easy the creation and setup of a virtual agent is. This ability to adapt in real time, to take autonomous action without being boxed in by, rigid decision trees. That's, of course, what's going to set ZVA aside. But what really sets apart Zoom and specifically Zoom Virtual Agent is this concept of the unified platform. So it's not just about self-service, but the full conversation lifecycle, the entire customer journey. So when a handoff takes place from a self-service agent, to a live agent, it's done in a completely seamless way so that the human agent has all of the context and understands everything that happened in that previous self-service interaction. And so it knows what the customers said, the sentiment that's happening right now, what the self-service agent has tried. And so that reduces a lot of the friction and the need for the customer to repeat themselves, which is, of course, a very frustrating experience. And I think more importantly, both the virtual agent and human agents, with the help of AI Expert Assist, are real-time agent assist tool, they're using the same underlying consistent AI. And so that means that the messages that they're using and the guidance that they're getting, it stays consistent. Again, not only to the guidance that we're giving the AI agent, but also to the guidance we're giving to the human agent through AI Expert Assist. And again, in a brand aligned and resolution focused way, that's designed to solve for customer issues. And I think that's incredibly rare.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, I think, from my perspective, that broader platform, which is such a huge differentiator for Zoom, and not in terms of just escalating the virtual agent to an agent working in the Zoom contact center, but being able to perhaps escalate it across the enterprise. So you
Right.
find a subject matter expert, maybe through Zoom Workplace, and have that customer case transfer to them with all that context, of course, that came for. I think in time that as having everything as Zoom does on that one unified platform is going to be so huge. And another thing actually that relates back to the start of your answer there is in terms of how the Zoom agent is now able to take the change in context of a conversation and help steer the customer as well. Being able to understand if customers halfway through a query and then wants to change and ask something else, say, oh, we're actually still working on this, but we'll get to that later. Being able to sort of guide the customer like that, that's next level. That's a next level capability to really boost containment rates. Although I don't really like the phrase containment, it is what it can have a serious difference on the contact center. And we're already seeing actually the Zoom virtual agent have a big impact specifically within Zoom's operation as well. Because I know Zoom kind of likes to walk the walk in its lot of in its deployments, and it's deployed the virtual agent across its contact centers. Can you maybe tell me a little bit about how Zoom is using the Zoom virtual agent internally?
Yeah, definitely. So for a while back now already, Zoom's been using its own Zoom virtual agent internally in our global support contact center. And actually, as of this week, this past Monday, we started running the new evolution of Zoom virtual agent, this agentic AI framework, Zoom virtual agent, also in our customer support center. And, I think this shows that we're not just talking about self-service and the future of self-service. We're really all in. You could say we're happily drinking our own Kool-Aid because we're genuinely excited about how this agentic AI framework, this next evolution of self-service, is going to help our customers and, create happier experiences. That's really part of our ethos. So I'm really excited to see how ZVA and the next evolution of ZVA does that for us. Historically, we saw that using ZVA, our support team was able to reach a 97% self-service containment rate. And that's in production and happening today, right? So it's real use case that we can talk about, not just theoretical, possibilities. So it's exciting results there. And also we've seen, beyond self-service containment, we can certainly speak to customer happiness as a reflection of customer satisfaction. So we saw there 28% increase in CSAT, as well as 35% reduction in unmatched queries, which tells us that ZVA isn't just handling volumes better, it's delivering better, smarter service with reduced friction. And so it's working and at scale for us here at Zoom. So we're excited to bring that same trusted and proven technology to our customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's a kind of a major red flag if a brand is selling a virtual agent and it's not front and center on their website. I think that often as I said, it's potentially a warning sign. So it's great to see brands like Zoom. There's a couple of others out there, of course, that are really starting to, as you say, drink their own Kool-Aid when it comes to this sort of stuff. But Jodi, it's been a really great conversation, and I'm sure we can talk a lot more about many of the capabilities of new the new AI agents entering the contact center, but also of course the Zoom virtual agent. I think maybe we should end the chat there. But yeah, thanks very much for joining me today. It was a great chat, as I said, and also thanks to everybody at home for watching. Bye for
Thank
now.
you so much.